By the late 18th century, France was broke, angry, and hungry. The monarchy was drowning in debt, the peasants were starving, and resentment toward the royal family was spreading like wildfire. And yet, when people whispered about Queen Marie Antoinette, it wasn't just her Austrian roots or her extravagant gowns they mocked. It was a necklace. A necklace so lavish, so absurdly expensive, and so tangled in scandal that it convinced the French public their queen was not just out of touch, but rotten to the core. This was the affair of the diamond necklace, a jewelry scam so outrageous it helped spark a revolution. The necklace itself, the story begins with a jeweler's dream. Two Parisian goldsmiths, Charles Baymer and Paul Bassenge, spent years assembling one of the most extravagant creations in Europe, a diamond necklace containing nearly 2,800 carats of diamonds. The necklace was enormous, gaudy, and glittered with wealth beyond imagining. Its price tag, about 1.6 million livres, enough to fund an army. Originally, it was meant for Madame du Barry, the mistress of King Louis XV. But when Louis died, the new king, Louis XVI, had no interest in buying such a monstrosity for his queen. The necklace sat unsold, its jewelers desperate to unload it before ruin. And that desperation would open the door to scandal. Marie Antoinette's reputation, Marie Antoinette, was already unpopular. To the French people, she was l'Autrichienne, the Austrian woman. She was seen as extravagant, frivolous, and dangerously out of touch. Every ball she attended, every gown she wore, every rumor of gambling or flirtation only added to her reputation as a queen who cared more for luxury than for her starving people. So when whispers spread that she wanted the diamond necklace, even as the nation teetered on bankruptcy, the public believed it instantly. But in truth, Marie Antoinette wanted nothing to do with the jewel. Enter Jeanne de la Motte. The real mastermind was Jeanne de la Motte, a conwoman with a taste for high society. Claiming distant noble blood, Jeanne used charm, manipulation, and outright lies to worm her way into Versailles circles. Her plan was bold. She would trick one of the most powerful men in France into believing he was secretly helping the queen, while lining her own pockets. That man was Cardinal de Rohan. The cardinal's weakness, Rohan, was ambitious, vain, and desperate. Years earlier, he had offended Marie Antoinette by spreading gossip about her mother, Empress Maria Theresa. Ever since, the queen had despised him. But Rohan longed for forgiveness. He dreamed of regaining her favor, and perhaps even becoming prime minister. Jeanne saw his weakness and exploited it. She convinced Rohan she had influence at court, that she was in the queen's secret circle, and that she could arrange a reconciliation. Letters forged in Marie Antoinette's name assured the cardinal that the queen was willing to forgive him if he proved his loyalty. And what better way to prove loyalty than by quietly helping her acquire a certain diamond necklace she supposedly wanted in secret? To set up, Jeanne de la Motte staged the con like theater. She and her accomplices provided Rohan with forged letters, supposedly from the queen herself. They even hired a young woman, Nicole d'Oliva, to dress as Marie Antoinette for a nighttime rendezvous in the gardens of Versailles. In the shadows, with her face obscured, Nicole played the part of the queen, handing Rohan a rose and whispering words of forgiveness. For the cardinal, it was everything he had dreamed: reconciliation, intimacy, and the promise of trust. Now he was ready to serve. The deal through Jeanne. Rohan agreed to act as middleman for the queen's supposed purchase of the necklace. He would guarantee payment, the jewelers would deliver the treasure, and Marie Antoinette's honor would be restored in his eyes. To the jewelers, desperate to sell, the arrangement seemed plausible. To Rohan, blinded by ambition and infatuation, it was proof that he had regained the queen's favor. In reality, it was all a lie. The necklace never reached Marie Antoinette. Jeanne and her accomplices stripped it apart, sold the diamonds on the black market, and laughed all the way to the bank. Closing of Section 1 by 1785, the stage was set. A diamond necklace worth a fortune had vanished. A powerful cardinal was duped, and Marie Antoinette, who had played no part in the scheme, was about to be dragged into the scandal of the century. Because when the con unraveled, the French people didn't blame Jeanne de la Motte. They blamed the Queen. And in Section 2, we'll see how a fraudster's scheme became a political weapon, how Marie Antoinette's reputation was destroyed, and how one gaudy necklace helped light the fuse of the French Revolution. By the summer of 1785, Jeanne de la Motte's con was complete. The diamonds were gone, the jewelers were restless, and Cardinal de Rohan believed he had done the Queen of France a secret favor. But then the bill came due. The jewelers demanded payment. Rohan expected Marie Antoinette to settle the matter quietly. Instead, the Queen was blindsided. Marie Antoinette had never ordered the necklace. She had never written the letters. She had never met Rohan in the garden at night. And yet suddenly, her name was at the center of a scandal that would destroy her reputation. The necklace emerges when the fraud unraveled. The jewelers went straight to Versailles. They wanted their money, and they had paperwork signed by Cardinal de Rohan that claimed the Queen was behind the purchase. Marie Antoinette was outraged. She had never wanted the necklace, never spoken to Rohan, never had any part in the deal. But the damage was already done. Rumors spread like fire through Paris. The Queen, desperate for jewels, had plotted to buy the necklace in secret, using a cardinal as her go-between. It was a lie, but it was a lie the people were ready to believe. The Queen's enemies rejoiced for years. Critics had painted Marie Antoinette as Madame Deficit, a foreign-born queen who drained France's treasury with her gambling, fashion, and parties. Now the necklace scandal seemed to prove it. Here was their Austrian queen, sneaking around, plotting in the dark, and lusting after diamonds while her people starved. The affair of the diamond necklace wasn't just about theft. It became a political weapon, a symbol of corruption and extravagance in the heart of Versailles. The trial of the scandal led to a sensational trial in Paris. Jeanne de la Motte was arrested. Her accomplices, including the young woman who had posed as the Queen in the garden, were dragged into court. And at the center of it all was Cardinal de Rohan. The cardinal was humiliated. He insisted he had been duped, that he believed he was acting for the Queen. But his enemies accused him of conspiring with her. The trial was a circus. Crowds packed the courtroom. Pamphlets flew through the streets, and the details of the con, the forged letters, the rose in the garden, the necklace itself, were dissected in lurid detail. The verdict, in the end, the court acquitted Cardinal de Rohan. He was declared an innocent victim of Jeanne's scheme. Jeanne herself was condemned. She was branded with hot irons, whipped, and sentenced to life in prison, though she later escaped in disguise. But Marie Antoinette? She wasn't on trial. She had nothing to do with the scam. And yet she was the one the public convicted. The people's verdict to the people of France. The trial was proof of what they had always believed, that their queen was greedy, manipulative, and dishonest. Even her furious denials only seemed like the lies of a guilty woman. Pamphlets depicted her as a scheming seductress, hungry for jewels while her subjects starved. Cartoons showed her draped in diamonds, smirking over the suffering of France. The affair of the diamond necklace became a scandal too juicy to ignore and too convenient to forget. The fallout by the time the French Revolution erupted in 1789, the Queen's reputation was already in tatters. She was seen as untrustworthy, decadent, and hopelessly out of touch. The necklace affair may not have caused the revolution, but it poured fuel on the fire. It transformed Marie Antoinette from a disliked foreigner into a national villain, a symbol of everything the people hated about monarchy. When she was eventually dragged to the guillotine, the echoes of the diamond scandal still lingered. Legacy of the necklace, the jewelers never recovered their fortune. The diamonds were scattered across Europe, sold off piece by piece. Jeanne de la Motte faded into obscurity after her escape, dying in poverty. Cardinal de Rohan's career was ruined. But Marie Antoinette? She would never escape the shadow of the necklace. History remembers her not just for her fashion, her extravagance, or her infamous let-them-eat cake, but for a necklace she never owned, a scam she never joined, and a scandal that destroyed her image forever. Closing of Section 2, so here's the final tally. A necklace too extravagant for any king to buy. A clever conwoman, Jeanne de Motte, who forged letters and tricked a cardinal. A humiliated churchman, a vanished fortune in diamonds, and a courtroom circus. And at the center, a queen who had nothing to do with the scam, but who paid the highest price. The affair of the diamond necklace wasn't just jewelry theft. It was a public trial of reputation. And for Marie Antoinette, it was the beginning of the end.